Hello and welcome to Life in the Mind, a neurodivergent podcast by neurodivergent people. I'm Maurice Beer.
And I'm Joy Amy Wigman.
And we are back with Mia Borthwick. Say hello, Mia.
Hi.
Every time I try, every time I think it, as I'm saying it,
You want them to say, hi, Mia?
Hi, Mia.
Yeah. Of course you do.
Go on.
Should I just say it for you? Hi, Mia. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. We can change it in post. Hey.
The power.
So normally for our topic episodes, we'll talk about like food or health or
something and neurodivergence.
Something and neurodivergence. But because we've never had anyone with dyscalculia before, we thought we'd just talk about dyscalculia. Because it is fascinating.
And it's so underknown about as well. There's so little information out there in terms of in the mainstream, and so many people just go, what?
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, what is that? So I guess the first thing to start with is like, what is dyscalculia? And like, what's the difference between dyscalculia and maths anxiety?
Okay, so yeah, dyscalculia is a specific learning difficulty of maths. So people with dyscalculia typically struggle to learn their times tables. They struggle to count, tell the time. But it's a lot more than that as well. It's like anything you can imagine to do with maths, they will struggle with it.
Yeah.
So that's things like traveling, like if you were to get a train, knowing the timings of when the train leaves, other things like directions, not knowing your left and rights. That's a big thing. Also sequencing, which is putting things like in an order and organizing and stuff like that. So that's basically what it is. It's so much to it. With maths anxiety. So do you know what? There is a difference, but there isn't at the same time. I think maths anxiety is more, the fear of doing maths, because I think maths can be something that a lot of people are really scared of, because there's a lot of maths. I find it very different to English. Like when you're learning English at school, if you're doing like English literature in particular, that's kind of more based off opinion, like on a book.
Yeah, you're not dealing with absolutes.
Yeah. But like maths this is the answer, and you need to get that answer. And a lot of people really struggle with that. And I think from my experience, I think sometimes maths can be taught in a way that, like, if you don't get the answer right, then you are a failure.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really scared to fail. And I think maths, if you get the question wrong, then you've failed. It's that sort of thing. It depends on the teaching, obviously. So I think when people think of maths, they're like, oh no, I'm going to fail, because they go back to that time in school where they got a question wrong and they failed.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of more with maths anxiety. But the thing is, you have maths anxiety with dyscalculia as well. The amount of times that someone has said to me to add something up or something, like not knowing I've got dyscalculia, then I start panicking, like really panicking. My heart is like going, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And I go into like meltdown, which is something that has happened so much. Like I know I'm very familiar with that kind of breakdown, I guess.
Yeah, the overwhelm from it. Yeah.
I'm very familiar with that. So yeah, I think they're the same but different. But if that even makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. Especially kind of seeing, maths anxiety being an emergent factor from having dyscalculia. Because if you find maths difficult for a brain wiring reason, then it's going to be more likely that it creates anxiety when you do it, because there is all that pressure upon it, upon doing maths correctly. And then if you can't, and then all of the blame and failure and shame and stuff, and guilt and stuff like that is going to come with that.
Yeah
That makes complete sense.
And also it's really interesting, because I think when people say dyscalculia, the instant thought is, oh, they struggle with maths.
Yeah.
Not they struggle with everything to do with maths. So including things like sequencing.
Yes.
Like you mentioned in the previous episode about having trouble with languages, because there is a lot of sequencing of like verbs and nouns, and that's how you learn how to do the language.
Yes.
And I think, and also about having like meltdowns and stuff. We wouldn't necessarily associate that with dyscalculia, not knowing more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I will admit I knew very little about dyscalculia kind of coming into this podcast, apart from when I started watching your videos of your show and your Insta reels, and sort of learning that actually it's a lot deeper than that. And we found that with a lot of the neurodivergences that we found on the podcast, and discovering that they actually spread out a lot more than you think they do.
Yeah.
Especially the things like dyscalculia, dyslexia, dyspraxia. There's so many more fronts to them. Like, well, dyslexia is a great example. People go, "Oh, so you can't read?" It's like, that's not. No, that's that's really reductive, and also not always the case in terms of that's not always the same struggle. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
So what led you to make your show, your wonderful comedy show about dyscalculia?
Well, it's quite an interesting story, because I think you would expect like, oh, maybe she just wrote the show because she was like, no one knows about dyscalculia, but that wasn't actually what it was. I wanted to make a solo show, and at first I wanted to make a show about not having much confidence, but like it be quite funny, because I don't really have a lot of confidence or self-belief in myself. So I wanted to make a show about that. And I do a lot of stuff in Weston-super-Mare. We've recently got this new theatre called Front Room Theatre, which I'm shouting them out because they are amazing. If you're ever in Weston, go to Front Room Theatre. There's like loads of amazing stuff. Anyway, they came along and they were like, yeah, we're going to open up the theatre. It's for theatre makers and people to try stuff out. And so I was like, yeah, I want to make a show. And then I think it just sort of came to me. I was like, why don't I just do a show about something that I like, have, like, I was like, yeah, okay, you could do a show about confidence, but then like for me, I was like, I didn't know where to go with that. And then I was like, I should just do a show about dyscalculia, and like, why not? Like, so I started doing it, and I was like, is anyone really going to care? Because like that, I suppose that's just been in my head for years. Like, is anyone going to care? And that it just sort of all kind of worked out. Like I think the first song I wrote, because it's a musical comedy, the first song I wrote was about a certain teacher I had called, I'm not going to say her name. Oh, I said her name then.
It's the wrong kind of shout out.
Yeah. Well, in the show, her name is Miss Sass, because she was very sassy. And she basically really called me out once in a maths class, because she really didn't know how to teach maths, because she was also a drama teacher. I think that's what she wanted to do. But obviously when you go into teaching, you have to, you're not being a drama teacher, you're being a teacher when you go into school. So you teach different subjects. And she really wanted to be a drama teacher, but she got roped into teaching bottom set maths. And she came up with this idea of like doing this like poem, really childish poemy song to the times tables, the 10 times tables. And each lesson I felt really stupid, because I was like, why am I being treated like I'm a baby? Like I'm like 13. I'm coming to that age now where I'm like, yeah, I want to be an adult, because I'm a teenager. And she caught me not joining in once, and she stood me up in front of the class and said, why are you not joining in with the lesson? And I was like, because I was really brave. I was like, I just feel a bit stupid. Like, I feel like you're just treating us like we're babies, and I don't like that. And she was like, okay, well then just get out, and then kicked me out of the class.
Wow.
And then like reported me. But I was a very quiet student. I never got in trouble. I just got on with it. So it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky, because I had like a support teacher that was like, don't worry about this. We're not going to let this happen again. Like, she was in the wrong. And I never told my mum about it, because I was really ashamed. I was like, I can't believe I did that. I told her like recently, she was like, oh, if I'd known, I would have gone in and I would have given her, my peace of mind. But so I didn't tell her. But yeah, I think when I thought back to that moment, I was like, God, that was really bad. Like no one should have done that.
No.
And I sort of wondered like how many other people have gone through the same thing. And like when I did the show, I was like, gosh, so many people have like gone through this. And I'm so glad that I made the show because it's really taught me a lot about myself and other people and just neurodiversity in general, like so much that I didn't want to know, but now I know, and I'm so glad that I know it.
Yeah,
so glad.
I've seen your show, and that was one of the things that really jumped out to me. Even though we're not all dyscalculic, there are so many relatable moments in it for, I think, most people. There are all these it's very human. It's really, really good. I really thoroughly enjoyed it and highly recommend going to see it if anybody ever is around when Mia's doing her show. What's the name?
It's called I Don't Have a Maths GCSE.
Yeah. It's genuinely brilliant. And it's so good because that thing of validating things in different ways, because it's great that you learn stuff from that process about other things as well, and then what other people found within it.
Yeah.
It's great. Brilliant.
So we were talking in the previous episode about, like, you had mentioned, like, no one else in the school had it, but then we sort of joked that they definitely did. It's just that there wasn't a great teacher to pick up on it.
Yeah.
So why do you think it goes so undiagnosed?
It's tricky, really, because I think that there's not enough research on it. But I also think that I think it's the same with dyslexia. When you say, I've got dyscalculia, people think, okay, she just can't do maths. Oh well, like we'll move on. And I think that's the kind of attitude, like, well, they just can't do maths. Or some people think, well, they're just not very clever then, So I think there's this like very narrow image of what it is. Like, we were saying, like, a lot of people just think you just can't do maths. But obviously we know that there's so much
a lot more to
underneath it.
Yeah.
But people don't recognise that in schools. I think for me, it was definitely this impression of, well, she's just very lazy or she doesn't want to do maths. That's why, it's not dyscalculia. She just doesn't want to do it. Even though I worked really hard in other subjects and it was obvious that I was a good, kind of good student. Like I wasn't like extremely academic, but I could do stuff. It was just maths. And I always think if I'd have like made more of a fuss, maybe they would have taken me seriously. But because I didn't.
But also, you were a child. You shouldn't have to have made so much.
No.
And that's with an official diagnosis as well. That's not even like something that you've noticed.
Yeah.
Like you've got an official piece of paper that says, I have dyscalculia.
Post the Disability Act.
After the Disability Act. But
protected
that's
characteristic.
Terrible.
Yeah. It's just, I think, I don't know why. Honestly, like the real answer is I don't understand why people don't know more about it. But I think it is just these like very deep rooted, like, well, they just struggle with maths, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But it's not.
Yeah. And people are so quick to write someone off as well. If it's, oh, you're different. Well, that means you just can't do these things. It's like, instead of going, how can we adjust and how can we adapt and actually bring you up? And that equity over equality type of thing.
Yeah.
So you talked about in the previous episode, the counters that you had for being able to count, and then how that was taken from you to do a maths test once because it was like, oh, that's not fair on the other students. It's like, no, that's wrong. That's not equity. Bringing everybody up to the same level by giving them kind of different what they need to get to the same level, rather than going, everybody gets exactly the same because they're all the same. It's like, well, that's stupid, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You do some work with the Dyscalculia Network. Can you tell us a little bit about who they are and what they do?
Yes. So the Dyscalculia Network, they are the only Dyscalculia charity. Well, they're not even a charity. That's the sad thing. They're not. They can't get the funding at the moment.
What?
Yeah, yeah,
And they're the only
Yeah.
sort of
yeah. The
network.
only
That's
one in the UK.
insane.
Well, there probably are some other places, but yeah, in the UK. But they were they came about because Kat, who is one of the founders, she had this group on Facebook. Well, she worked with a lot of dyscalculic children because she used to be a teacher, and she said that there was a lot of children with dyscalculia, and it just wasn't recognised. She started up a Facebook group, and that's where she came across loads of adults who had dyscalculia. And then she sort of recognised that, oh gosh, this is like pretty
It's a bigger thing.
big deal. Like
Yeah.
this is quite huge. So they set up the Dyscalculia network, and that is a place where, like, I guess you can get tested. They can help you get tested for dyscalculia if you think you have it, but also tutoring as well for not even just people for dyscalculia, just people that, I guess, it's like the whole maths anxiety thing. You can get support there. But the number one thing is just to get the word out there about dyscalculia and how we can change things in schools so that, kids don't have to go through what I went through or like other people went through. It's just so important that it exists. And I really hope that there will be more. Like, I hope that will be the main source of, like, the main charity, but I hope there'll be more, like, in the future.
Offshoots and
Yeah.
doing things like this and
Yeah.
your show
Yeah.
and getting the word out.
Yeah.
Giving the kind of energy to the cause and to the impetus to that information coming out into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things we wanted to bring up, because it just seems mad. So YouGov, which is the government website that grabs all people's opinions and stuff, they say that 57% of employers are unlikely to hire someone with lower than a C grade in maths. And what would you say to them?
That's a lot, I would say.
Is it broadcastable?
yeah, I have to turn the mics off a minute. I just, to me, like, to put it bluntly, I think it's very, like, it's discrimination.
Yeah.
Like, surely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe that, like, a C, you have to get a C to prove that you could do something. Like, for me, it's like, I don't know, like, I mean, I always think of my mum, actually. My mum, she's convinced she has dyscalculia, but she did O-levels. So she didn't get her O-levels in maths. And she's trained to be like a life coach and done all these amazing things. And she worked with young people. And she wanted to be a social worker. And she had all of the qualifications except for maths. And she didn't get the job because she didn't have maths, which is crazy. Like,
There are so many jobs that, like, maths is not that important for.
Yeah.
And it could be adapted very easily. Or it could be
Could
adapted
it easily be
Yeah.
adapted?
So many jobs. I mean, the government kind of was saying, like, they're kind of pushing for people to get their Maths GCSE because it will make them into this extremely academic person. But it's like the amount of jobs that you really don't need a Maths GCSE or any GCSE really. I mean, I'm quite it might be a bad thing to say, but I don't think that exams should really
They're not
exist.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The way that they currently exist is
There's this sort of this thing around societal, like, invention. So society has decided that what you need for a job is you need this experience, and you need maths GCSE, A to C grade.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know why. They've just always done it that way.
Yeah.
So they don't change it. Like, what they need is an autistic person to walk in and go, why do you do it this way? That makes no sense.
Logical and inefficient. What?
But it is, there are so many things that are outdated and they're just doing it because they've always done it that way. But it is discriminatory.
It is.
And, like, why do you need Why do you need those exams? If you can prove the skills,
Yeah.
why do you have to have an exam board?
Exactly.
And
I agree.
Makes me so cross.
Yeah, demonstrative skill can be a thing.
Yeah.
Like we could change it to just be a different way of doing things. And
Yeah.
education is a rabbit hole for me to go down another day.
We could be here all day, couldn't we?
Do you know, actually, so our last question that we were going to talk about was, so in the UK, around a fifth of students leave school functionally illiterate and functionally innumerate, which is a lot of people. And does this reflect problems in our education system around literacy and numeracy? And does this conversation need to have more of a platform? It's not really a question, is it?
No.
It's a real rhetorical question. Yes, it does need more of a platform.
Yeah.
Like, why are people leaving school still struggling? Probably because the school system isn't working.
Yeah. Where's the failing there?
Where's the failing?
Yeah.
Is it that we don't adapt to students that are neurodivergent, or just not even neurodivergent, just learn in a different way?
Yeah.
Our world is so different now to what it was even 5 years ago. Why are we still using the same academic structure? It's just...
Even just because we walk around with calculators in our pockets. Yeah. Every phone has a calculator on it. We have those on us all the time now.
And we have apps to help us do things. And
all of that.
yeah.
So many different.
It's
Honestly, like I worked in a school recently, and it's really sad because the subjects that would really bring children out of their shell was subjects like drama and music and art, like
expression.
You could be yourself, and it teaches you so much about being human. You know, we spend so much time looking at IQ, but we don't look at EQ, which is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is so important because, you know, you need to, when you get out into the real world, you're dealing with so many different people, and you have to deal with things that no one teaches you in school because no one knows how to. Like, you know, dealing with your emotions is so important.
And communicating with the
communicating.
people and communicating those emotions.
And how you're expected to express them as well. Lots of neurodivergences express emotions in very different ways.
And we just don't talk about things like that at all, really. Like, I mean, when I was at school, I was saying to you guys, like, autism was very hush-hush. No one ever spoke about autism. You know, that was...
Let's remind the listener that Mia is only 26. This is post-Disability Act.
This is post that literally being discrimination.
Yeah, like, it was just like, why would you not want to talk about these things? Like, every brain is different. You know, we all learn differently. We all have things about ourselves that are different. You know, that is just who we are. We can't all be the same. Because if we were, it'd be terrible, you know.
It would.
Which is a great way to finish the episode, I think. We'd love to hear your comments and your experiences. You can drop them in the comments on any of our social media, or drop us an email. It's been so nice having you, Mia.
Thank you so much for having me.
And great to hear you talking all about it and learning so much from you as well.
Gosh, I've realised, like, I've just been sitting and going, ooh, and absorbing so much information. It's great. Genuinely brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So if you want to catch Mia's show, that is... I haven't got my...
I don't have a Maths GCSE.
So keep an eye out for that. Her social medias are Dyscalculia Diaries on Instagram, and...
Mia Borthwick Performer, which is my wacky performer account where you'll see weird stuff.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, folks, that's it for this episode. Find us on Instagram at life.inthemind. Our other socials are linked in the bio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Bye.